start it. And oh my god. All right, let's
I didn't know
let's
who
try
was
again.
starting it.
Okay, so do you want to, or do you want me to say, like,
We
hello?
can both say it.
All right.
That's cool.
All right, so.
You could, we could just keep what we had there and keep the awkwardness in.
Hello and welcome to our podcast sucks. We're already starting off the night with a shit ton of fun.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, do I have to?
Yes, they need to know who's talking.
I like being anonymous. That's fun. Then nobody can associate the stupid shit that I'm about to say over the course of the next hour with me.
You know what?
No, alright.
They've seen your like, what, 4 tweets so far. I think they know what they're in for. I was impressed with the level of shit posting that was
the tip of the fucking iceberg. Do you have any idea how many times I restrained myself from tweeting the stupidest shit that comes up with me?
Why not?
Okay, I can do that.
Why not? Don't censor yourself.
I think you're gonna regret that statement, but
we'll have a business meeting if it becomes business.
Which is essentially going to be you sitting down across from me and being like, all right, Adam, we need to talk. But first, do you want some pasta or some tea or coffee or anything?
I have the need to feed people, okay? It's a cultural thing. Blame my family.
Don't blame your family. Your family's great, and I love it as a cultural thing, because really my family taught me to do the same thing. I'm just a failure as a child.
It's an Eastern European-esque thing.
It is.
But yeah, you're just bad at it.
Yeah, no. I'm every so often I remember when a guest is in the house to be like, "Oh, do you want some water, by the way?" And if they're like, "No," then I'm like, "Okay."
You're like, great, cool. I'm absolved of my sins.
Yes, I have no responsibilities here whatsoever. See attached wave file of the guy from A Few Good Men saying, "I have no responsibilities here whatsoever."
Are you just quoting GIFs?
No, I'm not quoting GIFs. I'm quoting A Few Good Men, which might have been turned into a GIF. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that line... I'm kind of surprised that line isn't a viral meme. Because, well, maybe it's not as applicable, but I feel like somebody just saying outright, "I have no responsibilities here whatsoever," is kind of memey.
It's pretty memey.
Because that's the whole line, you know?
I mean, I'm surprised it hasn't ended up on, like, the Facebook group for Guelph whenever finals happen. You can break the cycle, Adam. You can be the one to do it this
I can start the meme, man. I can be the overheard master.
I think that's Corey, but that's cool.
That's basically Corey.
That's pretty much.
Well, we weren't going to use proper names, but, I mean, you kind of put your name on Facebook anyway, so I screwed the pooch already.
Everybody kind of knows him, though. Like, he's the omnipotent moderator.
The omnipotent moderator. But yeah, anyway, it took me 3.5 fucking minutes to introduce myself. So, yeah, I'm Adam, and that...
What's your favorite meme?
What's my favorite meme?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a really good question. That is I have a lot of... I think recently I've been into any kind of initial D memes. Like anything that's just like cars and then Eurobeat is like, that's my meme. There's a freaking amazing video of, okay, so there's this dude who, I don't know the full story. It looks like he hijacked a car and drove it through an airport. Not hurting anybody, mind you, as far as the video can see. He just pulled a GTA, like he just goes through. It's ridiculous because he drives it around this airport, not really hurting anybody, not really causing too much destruction of property, but it is ridiculous, and it's all put to Gas 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 by Manuel. Which is, again, just a Eurobeat. I'm going to show it to you later because I think you'll enjoy it. Because, again, like, Eurobeat is, like, this really high tempo, just, like, gas, gas, gas. Like, it's really freaking, it's great.
Or he's really got to go to the bathroom.
That. Or that. Like, it is pretty good, like, racing towards the bathroom songs. Gas, gas, gas specifically, actually, is a very good one for, like, shit, I gotta go, man. It's gonna be the floodgates are opening. Anyway, Tamara, time for you to introduce yourself, because I think I've said way more than I should.
You took like at least 2 minutes there. It was great. Hello. My name's Tamara. I hope my voice isn't as squeaky as I feel like it's sounding in my head right now.
It's whatever. What's your favorite meme, Tamara?
Ooh. So I opened up I have an Instagram account of just my favorite memes because I made one as a social experiment. My 15-year-old neighbor made me get a Finsta, quote unquote. So now I just use it as a place to store my favorite memes. I don't know, my favorite meme has to be the ones where it's a picture of an animal and it's he protect, he attack. And it's just the most benign animals. And it's so weird. Either that or the ones where it's you have the picture of a brain being vaguely stimulated and then a supernova explosion. I love those. I found one today and I sent it to my friends and they're just why?
The prequel memes about those are just terrible.
I know.
But there's that meme is quite popular in my shit posting community that I'm part of. Yeah, this stuff. Okay, so those more or less introductions having been done, now that you know our names and our favorite memes, I guess this is the rest of the podcast, is just us talking about the stupid shit that we had to friggin'...
I don't think it's stupid.
Well, it's not necessarily stupid.
Right.
Most of the stuff that I'm going to say is probably going to be under the category of, idiotic, but let's jump right into... I don't know what you want to start.
Childhood trauma.
Okay, just jump right from memes to childhood trauma, kids. But we are going so deep.
To be fair, though, we did pick out stories that were more funny than sad.
Yeah.
And, this is in no way indicative of bad parenting skills, Mom and Dad, if you're listening.
Oh, yeah, same thing here to my parents.
At least mine is just purely stupid and situational. And the first time I told my mom this story was actually only about 3 weeks ago. But this happened many years ago. I finally copped up to it.
Mm-hmm. Clopped up to it.
Copped up to it.
Copped up to it.
I think it's a phrase.
I heard, I think you're thinking of cop out, but
no,
I don't know.
Thing.
But anyway, go on with your story, because I remember it being hilarious.
You've never heard it.
No?
No.
Oh, yeah, you told me to...
You've never heard it. I just told you the name of it.
Okay. Well, continue then.
Okay, so this is the Webkinsening.
Oh, the Webkinsening.
The Webkinsening. It doesn't have a good ring to it. It's that title's still in workshop, but the thing about the story is it explains so many of my current weird behaviors now. And this is the root of the problem. This is where it all started. This is ground zero. Is that a 9/11 joke?
Yes.
I was gonna say patient zero, but I'm no, that's a zombie movie.
No, that's a zombie thing. Just stop thinking zero, because no matter what you're gonna do, just say it's the root of all evil that has to do with you. That's fine, even though I'm sure that's biblical too. But this was the point of this podcast, was just to if anybody felt like anyone that isn't already our close friend, if you wanted to become friends with us, we are just nailing the hammer in the coffin of that idea.
Yep.
Just don't be friends with us. It's a terrible time. There's way too many memes, most of which are inappropriate.
But follow us on social media.
But please follow us on social media. That's totally fine. I'm just saying, if you were just these kinds of people seem really charismatic and fun, they would be very good rainy weather friends. They wouldn't betray me or abandon me. That's...
No.
It's, I like to think that we're good people. I know that Tamara is a fantastic mom friend, but it's not worth. We're the only two people who can really put up with each other.
Yeah.
It's rough. But please go on with the Webkinsening. I kind of went in with my own thing. Sorry.
That's okay. No, we had to cover a track from the 9/11 joke.
just go on with the Webkinsening. I'll bleep this.
I don't know. Should we keep it in?
Probably it will be kept in.
Anyways, the Webkinsening. I'm a mid-90s baby, and when I was about 7 years old, in 2000 and... I was 7 years old in 2002. 2003. Webkins were really popular at that time. They're still around. Great present. But it was my 7th birthday, And that was, like, the first birthday where, like, I had a decent idea of what I wanted. And it wasn't like, I was at the age where I felt like I was really coming into my own and had a good sense of self at that point. So when my mom asked a couple days before my birthday what I wanted, because my family is crazy and I was having a friendship party, like just with all my friends, and then a party with just family members. So there was double the opportunity for presents. So I was like, great, I know what I want. I have a clear message. So when my mom asked, what do you want for your birthday? I said, Webkins. And nothing else. Just Webkins. So because of that year alone for my birthday, I got 15 Webkins.
What?
15 Webkins. Now, for those of you who don't know me, which is most people here, even to this day, I love stuffed animals still. I think they're wonderful creations.
Oh, I fucking know you do.
And when I get a new one, it's like Christmas. Like, and it's the best thing ever, and I name all of them, and, like, they have friends, and, like, it's great. I love stuffed animals, but this really fucked me up as a kid, because I'd never gotten that many new stuffed animals at once. And both parties were back-to-back in the same day, so I opened 15 Webkins that night, and my brain just couldn't handle it. Not only did I have to come up with 15 new names for these Webkins, I had to somehow manage to snuggle 15 of them at once. Because little Tamara, whenever she got a new stuffed animal, would always snuggle that one first, along with my usual OG stuffed animal, Teddy. So I was like, fuck, what do? I have 15 Webkins. And that was when I came up with the cuddle schedule. I made an Excel document on the computer of who got what day to snuggle, because not only did I have 15 new Webkins to accommodate, I had to ensure my regular stuffed animals were feeling loved as well. And that birthday, I got 15 Webkins, but a bunch of other stuffed animals too. So, like, my brain was broken. I didn't know what to do, so I just started hoarding stuffed animals into my bed. And at that point, I only had about, like, 3 in there, so that was, like, a normal thing for a 7-year-old. After that, I had about 20. I'm not a very big person, and I already had a lot of pillows in my bed already, but at that point, after that birthday, I no longer had space to sleep, and going to bed was a ritual, because the stuffed animals had their place in bed, and then I had to figure out who I was sleeping with that night, and I had to bring up my Excel document that I had printed out, and I had to figure out whose night it was. I had like a 5-week rotation going. I had too many stuffed animals. And from then on, that just screwed me up. So to this day, whenever I get a new stuffed animal, it always has to be in rotation with the other ones. And like, finally, this lasted for, oh my god, like 14 years of having, it took me 15 minutes to put all of these stuffed animals in their specific places when I went to bed. And for 14 years, I kept up this ritual. Until this past summer, I found a moth in my bed, and I was like, oh no, I have to wash all of my stuffed animals. Better take them all out of bed, except for the 4 that I didn't touch. So now I'm down to 4, but it grew to 6. So I have 6 stuffed animals in my bed in Toronto. But, like, even then, it's still like, oh god, who's it gonna be tonight? I don't know. And that really screwed me up as an adult. Oh, and now I have trust issues.
You made an Excel document for the rotation of like of stuffed animals, so that none of them would feel left out or unloved or anything.
Yep.
Right?
My mom used to make Excel documents for everything. So, and especially if there was like lists involved. So 7-year-old Tamara was like, "Mommy makes Excel documents. I'm gonna make one too," because I had access to a computer. And like, I didn't have many games installed, and my dad had all the fun computer disks. So what else was I gonna do? Make an Excel spreadsheet about what stuff he got what night.
That is the weirdest mix of cold and calculating and warm and loving that I've ever heard. You sat down and you rationalized, you put thought and planning into how you would cuddle your stuffed bears.
Yes.
That's incredible.
The only good thing that came out of that story was that online you could register these Webkins and you would have like a virtual pet as well. I had a motherfucking empire. I was a billionaire on Webkins because I started off with 15, right? I started off with more than that. I have about, at this time and day, I think I have 21 webkins.
Dear God.
And not all of them are registered, like, to that account. That old account was lost, but I was a billionaire, because every time you logged a new pet on, you got, like, a nice lump sum of money, and then with each pet, like, there were daily tasks you could do, and, like, I rigged the system, and I was a billionaire on that.
It sounds like you essentially just got a shit ton of money from the get-go.
Yep.
Because you got 21 fucking webkins in one sitting.
15 at once.
15 in
now
one
I
sitting.
Have 21.
Now you have 21 because you bought 6 more.
Yeah.
Or got 6 more somehow.
I bought one, or no, I got them as presents, actually, continually after that from people. Okay. The most recent one was for my 21st birthday. I got a webkins for my boyfriend.
That's...
because I wanted an account.
Oh my God.
They have a really fun game where you can make pizzas, okay?
Okay. You could make pizzas for your webkins pets?
Yes, you serve them, and then you, like, upgrade the pizza place to become a high-tech metropolis, and you can open up chains, and...
What are you talking about?
I'll show you the game later.
No, I don't really know if
fun.
I want to.
It's really fun.
It sounds like an absolute time sink.
It is.
Oh my God.
But it's great.
I already have Castle Cats, like non-intentional brand promotion, but I already have Castle Cats. I can't deal with anything else. Download it on the
App Store or Google Play Store.
I mean, legit, you can. It's really fun.
Castle Cats, if you want to sponsor us.
Well, I mean, yeah. I'd be down. Hey, I spent like $1.39 of my already existing Google Play balance on the developer's like game. I think I've given back to them. I think they can afford to give a little.
So what's your childhood trauma?
What's my childhood trauma? This is also equally just stupid, but this one time at band camp. No, I'm kidding.
Really?
I'm joking.
I didn't know if you were serious or not.
No, it had nothing to do with band camp of any kind. It was a sports camp because no shit, I was a fat little kid. And my parents and I did quite enjoy going to. That's what I spent a lot of my summers, would be just going to summer camps of various different kinds. One would think that I'm pretty good at camping overall, and yet I have still basically zero outdoor survival skills, because these were all camps where, you had a cabin and you sat around a fire and sang songs, but you never got to make a fire. You never were taught how to survive. You just played like games amongst each other. Like we'd do frickin' Zip Zap Zop or some crap, and then every so often that dude from Moxie Fruvis would come down and play for us. It was... Well, this is a very specific camp that I'm thinking of. Is French camp. But yeah. The point is, okay, so that was French camp. The point is, I went to a lot of summer camps as a kid, and this story pertains to a sports camp that I went to, because my father, or rather his other wife's kids, or other wife, second wife, not even technically wife. It's complicated. Anyway, their kids went to that sports camp, and they had a grand old time. And my dad was just like, hey, you should probably go there too. They won't be there, so you won't know anybody there, and you'll be socially awkward at a sports camp, which you'll suck at anyway because you're a fat little piece of crap. But yeah, you should totally go. And I at the time was like, all right, sure. Sounded like fun. So I went there once, and it was a pretty good time. Nothing really all that eventful happened, but the story pertains to second year of that camp. Ooh. I was at a weird age the second time that I went to that camp, so they didn't really want to put me, because there was kind of like, there were like sort of like a junior boys, and then there was like an intermediate boys, and then there was like the older boys, and they were grouped together and put in cabins by age group relatively arbitrarily. Yeah. Like relative to each other, how they could pack people together. Though that particular year, I was, I think, the only 13 or 14-year-old, like, because the cutoff for the younger boys or intermediate boys was somewhere between 11 and 12, but the seniors were all like above 16. Ooh. So they, instead of putting me with the intermediate boys, because they kind of ran out of space there, they put me with the seniors.
Oh crap.
So side note, that was the same time that one of them walked into me having gotten onto his laptop and just listening to Because I Got High. Because that's what they exposed me to.
This explains so much of your personality now.
It was a great time. He walked in, he saw me just bobbing along to like Because I Got High, Because I Got High, like this 13-year-old kid, and he was just like, okay. Right. So, but again, sort of getting off track. The point is, in second year, I was put with the senior boys who actually, like, you know, were more intellectually developed and kind of smarter in general. At one point, we got to talking about riddles. They would have like stuff like, you know, like parlor trick kind of riddles, like, yeah. You know, like four is cosmic or whatever, or like magic number 4 or whatever, where, you know, you'd have like give me a number.
Oh, actually?
Number. Yeah, actually.
Okay, 3.
3. Okay, 3 is 5, 5 is 4, 4 is cosmic. And the point is that you have to figure out the rule behind that, and it was a bunch of different riddles like that. So then this guy drops the biggest freaking riddle bomb. This one guy from my freaking group drops the biggest riddle bomb on us, like, ever. Okay? He comes up with, or he had this riddle. He was just like, all right, so let's say, once again, we're actually going to do this, demonstrate. Let's say that couch is a sock, and those curtains are a sock. Is the mic a sock? No. No, it isn't. But listen, if the TV... so much. If a TV is the sock, if the TV is a sock, and if the table is a sock, is this coffee table a sock?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And he would do this, and everybody was mystified. And it became like we just couldn't figure it out what the heck like the rule was. Like, what was the correlation? Like, people we brought it down to a freaking science. Like, people were like making theories. Did you
make an Excel spreadsheet?
No, we didn't make an Excel spreadsheet. Here's what I did. I lied awake for 4 nights straight. I rolled and tossed and turned in bed because I was just like, what the fuck is the rule for this goddamn riddle?
Your mind was blown.
My mind was racing. I was going in circles and circles, weighing theories between each other. And it was terrible because while everybody was asleep, obviously I couldn't test any theory of mine out on this dude. So he couldn't tell me if I was right or do anything like that. I was awake for 4 nights straight trying to figure out this dude. By the end of it, I was basically in delirium, you know? Like, and I remember like just being like irritable and annoying and like hyper, and eventually, like, I think on the 5th night, like, I just passed out. Like, I couldn't handle it anymore. But it kept me, and still, those were like I think it was like the 3rd day that he told us, and this was like a 1 week camp. I remember that it was 4 nights, and I'm pretty sure that by the time we figured it out, it wasn't yet the last. Yeah, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks. I was there for 2 weeks. But yeah, and it, like, there you go. That's my childhood trauma. Is I remember like staying awake until basically delirium, trying to figure out this goddamn riddle.
Magical.
Yeah.
That's today's trauma story. Brought to you by therapy. Lots of it.
Oh my god, therapy would have a freaking field day with either of us.
God.
Alright, so I have another story to share with you guys related to something that happened very, very recently. Tamara, if you're okay with me sharing this.
Gladly.
So about 2 nights ago, I'd gotten back from this was 2 nights ago. This was on Wednesday.
No, it was on
it
was on Monday.
Oh, sorry, it was on Monday. In any case, on Monday, I had gotten back from work, and I was really, really tired from sitting around in a convenience store and doing nothing. But I got back from work at like 10 p.m., and I kind of just opened up a bag of caramel corn and started just sitting around vegging out on my chair in my room, and then I got a text from Tamara, or a message from Tamara, saying,
read it out.
What?
Do you want me to pull up the text
Yeah,
message?
can you pull it up, because I want to remember the exact, because you didn't lead with, okay. She led with something along the lines of like, "Hey, are you still awake, or are you up?" No. You said, "Can you pick me up?"
No, this was on Facebook. Hold on. I'm
pulling this up. Facebook.
We have too many conversations.
We unfortunately have a few too many conversations, especially recently when we started planning out this podcast. Facebook has just been the most lit thing for the two of us.
It was Monday at 10:10 p.m.
It was Monday at 10:10 p.m. And Tamara messages me, "Any chance you're free right now?" Now I'm thinking, okay, we've been talking about doing this podcast. I was thinking, all right, maybe she just wants to do it right now, which is totally fine with me, because I'm not like I need to prepare for any of this shit. I'm just devilishly handsome and charming any time of the day. So I texted her back. She asked me, "Any chance you're free right now?" I have like 10 kernels of caramel corn inside my face right now, and I'm like, yeah, technically, sure. And her response to that is, "Want to adventure with me to buy drugs?" And at which point my eyes go about as wide as a frickin' like golf balls. She texts me like, "Legal drugs." I'm like, sure. And her next message is, "So I can breathe tomorrow." And I'm like, okay. I'm kind of thinking in my mind, like, Tamara, do you have like a problem that you want to talk about?
Okay.
Like, it's...
For context.
No, not for context. For context, you text me, "I need drugs, legal drugs, so I can breathe tomorrow." Okay. And I'm like, Tamara, marijuana is only legal in like a few months.
For context, I have really bad sinus problems, and I've only recently started medication for it over the summer, and it's gotten to the point where if I don't take my medication, which is called Flonase, it is 100% legal. It is actually, you don't need a prescription for it either. I can't really breathe, and I get really bad headaches, and especially in Canada, the weather right now is kind of like weird, where it's like cold but warm, and there's a lot of humidity even though it's October. So I've been getting really bad headaches. So I ran out on Sunday night, and Monday morning was not a fun time. So I'm like, ooh, when I get home from school on Monday, I definitely need to go. And I was waiting for my roommate to come back, but I had no idea where he was, so I just texted Adam. And I did... Sometimes I don't think about what comes out of my mouth.
And so you led with... This didn't even come out of your mouth. This came out of your, like, typing fingers. You had time to review the message before you sent it to me.
Nope.
And you just went, "Want to adventure with me to buy drugs?" to a dude who had just recently gotten back from work, was, like, kind of fried and eating caramel corn, being like, "What? What do you mean, do I want to adventure with you to buy drugs at 10 p.m. on a Monday?"
I mean, like, to be fair, like, I call going to Shoppers adventurous.
I mean,
that's fun for me. I sound like a really fun person. That's what I call... Like, I use that term very freely, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, no, so we went and we bought Flonase. It's legal. Check it up online if you're curious. And it's great. And it's really strong, I will say. It's stronger than my prescription stuff. Like, I only need 1 squirt of that in my nose, not 2. And I get headaches after I take it. So, yeah.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah.
At least you can breathe.
Yeah, kind of.
That's an important part of, life in general, is to be able to, again, actually breathe, yeah.
Yeah, sinus headaches, they're not debilitating, but, like, if it's bad, it's bad, but it's a weird thing where, like, if you have sinus problems, it's not like you're gonna die, you're just gonna be really uncomfortable for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, does this really need to be a thing?
I mean, it's very much like I mean, I know when I get a sinus infection, like, or sinus, like, have blocked sinuses or whatever, I get this, like, really central headache, like, right at the front of my head, and that is me at my most irritable. Like, I have headaches periodically, just because shit happens. Not as often as I used to, ever since I started seeing a chiropractor, but when I have that, like, front of face headache, that is when I legitimately want to kill someone.
Yeah.
That is when, if you actually, like, start talking to me about some bullshit, I'm like, I will actually grab the knife from the kitchen and show you what your trachea looks like. Like,
you're a fun person to be around.
It's, well, my imagination has gotten a lot more specific and gory since I started doing dissection labs. So I'm not usually this
accurate
again,
with your gore.
with my gore. I'm usually just kind of like, a friggin' eviscerate you,
yeah.
Which is a
thanks,
thing.
anatomy.
The anatomy has made me that much worse than you have it to blame, essentially. So
I guess, speaking of, I keep doing all of these weird transitions because I'm the one with the note on her phone about what we're talking about. The next thing we came up with, which we kind of, I don't know if you're going to post the bonus footage. We already started talking about this in the bonus footage, but we both met each other because we go to university in, should I be polite or not?
I mean, it's up to you. It's your podcast.
A butt-fuck nowhere small town. Lovely people, butt-fuck nowhere, pretty much. Like...
Again, perspective, we come from Toronto, so which you can hear by the way that we say Toronto. So, perspective.
Yeah, and like, that's one of the bigger... I think it's, like, the biggest city in Canada. And going from that to a small town is a lot. I don't know. And, like, there's other... I mean, sorry, it's not a small town. It's a city. Guelph is a city. But it's... I've heard stories from friends in other, like, university cities that are smaller across Ontario, which is our province. And, like, the stories that I have are, like, weird. Like, they tell me about, like, the sketchy parts of town, but when I, like, sit down and tell them about Guelph and try to describe it, it's just weird and stupid at times. Like, let's be honest. I could go on a rant about this. This is great.
Please.
Guelph is really bad at transitions. It's not a very wide city. It's longer than it is wide, and it kind of blossoms out near the highway. There's a town between the highway and Guelph, and it kind of blossoms out there. And then it kind of goes within a confined direction, and then it kind of blossoms out in the north end. But around the university, on one of the major streets, Stone Road, if you start off... I guess outside the borders of Guelph on the sides, you have literal cornfields. Maybe not corn per se, but like empty farmers' fields.
Yeah, you go from Victoria, basically.
Yeah. So you start at Victoria Road, which is empty fields. Then you hit like a couple of small houses maybe. And then you hit a conservation area that the university has, which is quite... like you can walk from one end to the other, but like it's a bit of a walk. It's about like a 30-minute walk. So you have conservation area. Then you have university, which is, it's not a big university. It's very compact, but there's a lot of buildings and like quite tall buildings too, like 7-8 floors, which is a lot for Guelph. And then from there, you have a literal farm called the Dairy Bush, where I walked by there the other day with a friend. You can smell the manure, and it is so painful. Like, I was walking with my friend just meandering around campus, and we had to turn around at the Animal Science and Nutrition building because it just hits you like a ton of bricks in the face. Like, it's cute to see live animals sometimes if you're like driving, or you can't really drive by there, but if you happen to see it, like, there are live animals there. And then there's this place, it's called the Dairy Bush. So there's like a little farm, and then there's more fields. And then there's this, like, it's off-campus student housing, but it's like Res 2.0. And then there's our mall. One of 2 malls in Guelph. And then after the mall, there's, like, more suburbia developments. And if you go far enough, you end up at a highway. And then there's some more houses, and then you end up with fields. So it's just the weird, like, if you walk long enough, you will walk through an urban center, a farm, a highway, and fields, all in the span of, you could probably walk it in like 2 hours. You could walk from one end of Guelph to the other.
Yeah,
like,
realistically.
Widthwise, not lengthwise.
No, lengthwise you're talking like going from South End to, again, through, University area, which is a little bit, I like to think is closer to the center of Guelph because I feel like it extends north about as far as it does south from the university.
It's definitely, it goes till the water, kind of. Like, with some housing in between. But, like, even, like, downtown Guelph is just sad. Aww. Like, coming from downtown Toronto, which is, like, a good portion of the actual, like, metropolitan area of it. Like, downtown Guelph is 4 square blocks, maybe. The actual core of it, there's one bar on every corner, and then it just gets kind of weird. As, like, the other night, I was at the train station on a Tuesday night at, like, 10 o'clock at night, and I was taking a train back to Toronto, and there were, like, 4 groups of dudes. They must have been at least between the ages of 30 and 50, and they were all on BMX bikes, biking around the train station. But, like, the thing is, the only thing that made me feel vaguely uncomfortable, which, like, in Toronto, I feel fine. I feel fine walking around Toronto, like, late at night in, like, certain areas. I'm fine with that. But, like, these guys at the train station in Guelph were high out of their minds. It was a Tuesday night at 10 p.m., and they were also drinking, like, something, too. So I'm like, great. There's a bunch of, and there's no security at the train station, or there's one guy inside. But, like, I'm standing outside with my friend, and we're both really uncomfortable. Because at the train station platform, there's, like, an elevator that'll take you to a tunnel. There's a guy passed out there already, and it's, like, 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. And it's just, like, where the fuck are we? And, like, the dudes biking around the train station are all white guys. They're wearing plaid shirts with nothing on underneath that and, like, ripped up pants. And you're like, I hate to use this. It's the literal definition of, like, country, like, hicks. But high and on BMX bikes. It was just the weird, like, it was like, this wouldn't happen in Toronto. Like, only in Guelph.
You're goddamn right that shit wouldn't happen in Toronto. Okay, maybe you find, like, one dude who looks like a hillbilly, like he jumped straight out of frickin' Nebraska or some shit at, like, you know, Lakeshore, where they recently, I don't know if you have been to that area, but, like, there's Lakeshore just a little bit east or a little bit west of downtown, and there's actually, like, a BMX park there now. Yeah, I feel like one time somebody would roll up there in a plaid shirt and ripped blue jeans and his, like, cowboy hat and his cowboy boots.
Except he rode a BMX bike.
And a BMX bike that still has, like, some weird trucker, like
he has a butt big horn.
Like, he has a big horn on it, and on the back there's some, like, how's my biking? Some freaking like bumper sticker, essentially, like a bumper sticker, and he's just like, howdy, y'all. And then everybody at the BMX park falls off their bike laughing at this dude.
Yeah.
That would essentially be how that would go over in Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing about Guelph is that we are one of the few schools in Canada that has a full-on agricultural program.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we actually have people studying to become farmers, which I'm in no way talking down. I think that's really cool. But it's a weird mix of student body. And the Aggies, which is what they're commonly referred to as students, the Aggies and regular students don't really get along that well. And, like, on the most part, it's part of, like, I guess the rest of the student body's fault, because we call them Aggies and we kind of sensationalize them.
We sort of single them out a little bit.
I mean, like, they walk around campus with their leather jackets with the word Aggies emblazoned on the back, and they all drive trucks.
Literally, oh my god. I swear to God, literally, basically every Aggie that I've ever known that drives a pickup.
Yep.
It's uncanny.
I mean, like, it's functional. It's not just an aesthetic choice at that point.
No, I know it's thoroughly functional. That's what makes it aesthetic and... Okay, I don't know.
Move your mouse. Your computer screen's getting dimmer.
Oh, whoops. That's what you mean. I can keep...
Yeah,
on a related note, though, I did want to tell you, on a related note of, like, BMX dudes drunk and high on a Tuesday. There was one time in second year, when we were downtown and drinking and shit. We were just getting back home. We were at the bus stop on our way at the end of the night going home. Mm-hmm. We kind of finished up a little bit early, like it was just midnight, past midnight, and we were like, fuck it, let's go home.
The bars close at 2 a.m. here.
Bars close at 2 a.m. here. Yeah, so we decided to kind of pack it in for the night, and we're standing at the bus stop, shooting the shit, wait for the bus to come, and this dude comes up to us. He didn't look like I mean, I kind of have a stereotypical drug dealer / homeless person image in my mind. Mm-hmm. This guy didn't look like that. He kind of, like, walked up to us. He was wearing a leather jacket and a hoodie, but he wasn't, for lack of a better term, dirty. Quite literally. And he had a pretty decent haircut, and like his beard was pretty well trimmed. So he didn't look crazy, so it was pretty unassuming. Nobody really noticed that he had walked up to us. But he walked up to us, and he said these words, "You guys want some weed?" Just offered us weed like nobody's business on, like, I think this was a Wednesday, actually. Ooh. So I mean, maybe that's a weirder day. I don't really know. I don't go out all that often. Case in point. But yeah, this guy walks up to us. He just like, "Yo, you want some weed?" And all of us are like looking at each other like, no, that's cool. That's okay.
Thank you, kind sir.
Thank you, kind sir, for your offer of
substances,
of psychoactive substances. But I think we'll pass. And the guy seemed to be kind of unreceptive to that, because he pulled out a little baggie, took out like a nugget about like that you could kind of pinch between your hands, and just kind of lopped it at us. Like, he didn't like throw it angrily, he didn't pass it kindly. He went to a direct midpoint between aggressive and friendly.
So passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressive, and just kind of lopped it at us, like one would, like, slightly overhand, lopped it. It landed on a recycling bin behind us and just went away, And I'm looking at this nugget of weed that I did not touch, because I did not want any of the long list of STIs that one could get from
weed?
Anything. I don't know, man. And I'm looking at this thing, and it's like, and he tossed it at us, but it was barely like it was a tiny nugget. It's hard to visualize, but it was about the size of like a penny, when those were still a thing. And I'm looking at him like, what the fuck do I even do with this? You can't even, like, you can't do anything with this. So, not that you would know tomorrow, but so yeah, that was my story of weird stuff that has happened with me in Guelph.
Yeah. I have to say, my weirdest thing was actually going to Aggie Pub.
Oh, yeah, you've actually been there.
I frequented it in first year. Aggie Pub is run, again, by the agricultural students. They, no shit, run it on Wednesday nights in the basement of the UC. They serve alcohol for those who have valid IDs, but for other kids, it's just a place to go and, like, dance. And you have to wear plaid. I mean, you don't have to, but it's the unspoken dress code of Aggie Pub. And, like, if you own cowboy boots, you bust them out. So
and if you got blue jeans, well, of course you got blue jeans, but in any case, you wear
plaid and blue jeans. Yeah, that's like the unofficial outfit of Guelph. To the point where I think in first and second year, I amassed 7 plaid shirts from, like, none. And because no one at my high school in Toronto wore them. So, yeah, no, I used to go to Aggie Pub, and the best thing is that I was pretty damn good at square dancing, because they'd actually square dance. Like, it wasn't just popular country music. They'd play, like, fiddle music, and people, like, if a boy came up to you, it was either to grind or to square dance, and more often than not, it was square dancing. And he'd take you and you'd trot around the little dance floor in Peter Clark Hall, and you'd square dance with a boy. Maybe you'd talk, maybe you wouldn't, and then he'd move on to the next girl. And, like, everybody there was drunk. Everybody there. Like, I think I went sober once, and it was the weirdest experience, because I'm like, people looked really stupid, but the whole thing was really surreal, because it's just a sea of plaid. It's just plaid and bad lighting, and, like, I'm not a country music fan, but because I went to Aggie Pub so often, I learned, like, I think the year I started going was 2013, because that was my first, like, year of university. There was Country Girl, Shake It For Me, that song where it's, like, there's something about a truck. I think that's the title.
There's something about a truck.
Look it up.
Literally every country song ever.
I think that's the name. And then Wagon Wheel, because my friends really liked that, because the girls who I was friends with actually loved country music, and I'm just like, yeah, let's go. I like dancing. And there was line dancing, and, like, I learned how to line dance, because I knew how to do Cotton Eye Joe from my youth, and I could line dance, so it was a good time.
It seems like a good time.
And my parents knew, and they to this day still make fun of the fact that I used to go to Aggie Pub. And they're like, why don't you go anymore, Tamara? And I'm like, because I'm actually old enough to go to a bar, and even then I, like, don't go out, because Guelph is just traumatic. Like, every time we go out, something weird happens.
That's true. That's true. I got kicked out of one of the more well-known and honestly dodgier kind of bars in Guelph. I got kicked out of Trappers.
You got kicked out of Trappers?
I got straight up, and not even for... Oh my god.
There's Something About a Truck. It's an actual song by Kip Moore.
Okay, so yeah, sponsorship. Literally, there's a song called Something About a Truck. If that's not a parody, I don't know what is.
It's not.
So, but yeah, I got straight up kicked out of Trappers, and lo and behold, it wasn't actually my fault.
Really?
Yeah, because a fight broke out on the dance floor. Like some people freaking got all rowdy and shit. And
that's normal though for Trappers in Palace.
That's fair. But in any case, they got a little rowdy. They were kind of throwing punches amongst each other, and I was off to the side a little bit. But I know that the people that I knew that I had come with, they were like somewhere in there. So I went in there, like when the fight broke out, I was like, okay, I better go in there and like kind of fish him out.
Yeah.
And at one point, and I'm trying to get into basically like towards the center of the dance floor, and I feel a hand clasp around my shoulder. And I turn around, and the guy at security is like motioning for me to kind of like. It looked like he was motioning for me to get out of his way.
Yeah.
So I kind of moved aside, and then he kept motioning, so I moved even further aside, and then he started motioning me off the dance floor, and I was like, oh... Like, I figured that realistically nothing I could say would get through to this guy.
Yeah.
So I just kind of did what he said, and he basically pulled me off the dance floor, and led me to the back door and just in the most polite way possible kicked me out of Trappers.
Oh my god.
So that was the thing. I was standing outside for maybe 15 seconds. I texted the people that were inside, like, guys, I got kicked out of Trappers. Like, I guess I'll meet you guys on the flip side or something. Like, we better figure something out because half of you are drunk.
Yeah.
So I should probably do something as the responsible adult. But again, not 15 seconds pass, another guy is pushed out by a different security guard. The different security guard looks at me and is like, wait a second. And I look at him with like this slightly pleading, slightly nonchalant look. Like, I mean, I guess I got kicked out. Please let me back in.
Yeah.
You know?
Because the backside of Trappers empties out onto like... It's busy when the buses are there because there's the bus station, but other than that, like
nothing
quite
there.
Sketchy.
There's some sketchy shit. So I'm out there at the back of like again Guelph's dodgiest pub, and I'm looking back inside at this security guard, and he just opens the door and he's like, "Yo, come back in." It's like, it's cool. Okay, I know you had nothing to do with it. Like I saw it all happen, right?
Yeah.
And so he brings me back in. And again, like right as I walk through the door, I just hear from like up the stairs up towards Palace, a guy yelled down, "Dude, what the fuck?" You know, and my security guard who brought me back in yells back, "Dude, what the fuck do you? This is the wrong guy. He had nothing to do with it." And I was just like, bless this guy, this security guard who defended me when nobody else would, you know.
You were the scrappy underdog.
I was the scrappy underdog, and this guy came to my rescue, and he pushed me back into Trappers, and I went and I found everybody, and I got the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And so there you go. That's my Trappers story. That's how I got kicked out of Trappers one time by no fault of my own, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about Guelph bars that's different from Toronto bars, Toronto has a lot more niche bars, so, like, you can find exactly what you want in a bar, whether it's, like, emo night, whether it's shitty club music and overpriced drinks, or, like, anything of the sort. But, Guelph is just it's a weird place. I know that we went out once with a bunch of our friends, and, it was a weird night. Like, the worst part was... Like, no one got kicked out. There was a fight, apparently, and one of our friends left. It was... Another friend of ours ended up, like, finding some girl, and we were all watching, and then he ended up, like, leaving her because we were all watching and, like, hooting and hollering him on. Because he's a really good dancer, and he's really fun to go out with. But the worst part of that night was that I went... Because we had a table at that point at this bar. Somehow we magically got a table because there were, like, 7 of us. And it was, like, my 3rd time out in Guelph. And no, it was my 4th time out in Guelph. And I didn't know what to expect. So, like, we all brought winter coats because Guelph is cold as shit in the winter. And by that point, it was like 1 a.m. We were all really tired of having to have someone sit by the table. I'm telling you the story like you weren't there, but you were there.
Oh, wait, was I?
Yeah, you were there.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It was
maybe.
you, me. Are you going to bleep out names?
No, that's okay. Just continue.
Sheila,
Darcy,
Bob,
Doug,
Doug,
yeah, sure,
Gerald,
Theodore.
Anyways, so I went up to the coat check guy and I'm like, hey, can you check these 10 coats? And he's like, oh yeah, that'll be $25. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then 5 minutes later, no less than that, they're like, okay, last call, bar's closing. And I'm like, that guy fucking took my money. And I was sober. Like, I had 1 drink at that point, and it was 3 hours ago. And that guy took my money. He's like, yeah, sure. And I asked, like, oh, when's coat check closing? He says, oh, you still have more time. And, yeah. Scuzzy coat check guy, if you're listening, fuck you. That was, like, $25. But the best part of that night was my roommate at the time got so drunk, and it was 2 a.m, and everyone still wanted, like, food and stuff. So we went to go to, Mexican food place that was still open, and it was beside another Mexican food place that was still open, but blasting music on the sidewalk. This is my favorite story about my roommate. He'll probably kill me for telling this, so sorry if you're listening, because I know you're gonna listen. But he started standing outside Salsateria, and he starts dancing. And I remember the song because it was the song First by Cold War Kids, and I really like that song. And it's quite a slow tempo song, and he just starts dancing like he's in a club, and he's like, Guys, I found another club that's open. Let's go to Salsateria. And the place is called Salsateria, and it's a Mexican food place. I'm like, no, buddy, like, that's not a club. And he's like, but there's music playing. And so we just let him be, and he just keeps dancing out there for a good, 6 minutes under Salsateria's sign in the street at 2 a.m.
Man, I mean, when you feel them salsa beats, man, sometimes you just gotta go with the rhythms, man.
Yeah. And then he dropped my guacamole.
He dropped.
I got a thing of chips and guac, and he just dropped it on the floor, and he's like, "Oops!" And I'm like, "I can't be mad at you. You're so drunk."
While he was salsa dancing, he just salsa'd a little too.
This was after he stopped dancing, because people started staring, and because we called attention to the fact that he was dancing outside. So he came over and he's like, oh, can I have a chip? And I was like, sure. So I gave him the bag and he knocks it on the floor. And I'm like, well, guess we're not having any.
That works.
Yeah. I think he actually he knocked the chips and salsa on the ground and then he picked it up and he starts eating it. I'm like, no, that's not what you do. Stop.
That's not
You're
a good
too
idea.
Drunk.
Not a great idea.
So
ever. Just don't eat anything off the floor, kids.
Yeah, don't eat. Especially off the street.
Yeah. Oh, well, especially then, jeez.
Yeah. So, what else is Guelph really weird out? This is just the Guelph podcast. Ooh, Guelph is also, they have weird, they're very weird about stores and, zoning, I guess, because a lot of Guelph is new, under 10 years old, if not, less than a year old. And so, to put it in perspective, in the South End, that's where most of the development is. And they have recently built, I think it's 4 years old, they have a really nice set of plazas with a ton of, restaurants and, fast food places and a movie theater and a Shoppers Drug Mart. It's a great place to be. But they have a drive-through Starbucks. And across the street, they just built a Longo's, which is a grocery store. And lo and behold, in the Longo's, there is another Starbucks. And it is across, it's a 2-lane road. It's literally right across the intersection from the drive-through Starbucks that is open most of the day. I think they close at 11 and they open at 5 a.m. So what's the point? Why? They also have 3 burrito places within a 10-minute walk of each other. And my boyfriend used to work at one of them, and they had a fight going on between the burrito places. Quesada versus Bar Burrito versus Fat Bastard. They were in a cold war to the point where I see my boyfriend's coworkers, sometimes they go to Bar Burrito just to check out the competition, but they go there in their Quesada uniforms.
Oh my gosh.
And it's oh. But the Starbucks, that at least is different companies. For Starbucks, it's literally the same company right across the street. I don't understand this. It's so stupid.
It was great. That was a great thing that, because it is, pointless, especially since apparently Starbucks is, that's not a franchise thing. It's not there's different owners. They're just all part of one corporate entity. And we got to talking about, like, frickin' how this would be, like, how silly it would be if they had, like, a Starbucks, like, Cold War going on between the two of them. Like, there's the Capulet House and the Montague House, like...
Two Starbucks.
Two Starbucks, like...
Two Starbucks lovers.
Two Starbucks, oh... That really hurt. But yeah, we were freaking laughing at, like, you know, they, like, I drink my coffee at you, sir. Like,
I believe the phrase that came up was "blood of thine enemies" with a hint of pumpkin spice latte.
I think what we were thinking is that, you know, the new menu item in Starbucks now is pumpkin spice blood of thine enemies.
Yep.
You can order that friggin' small or venti or whatever the hell frickin' sizes they do at Starbucks, because as it happens, I don't go there all that often, though I do feel like a Frappuccino quite regularly, unfortunately.
Whenever I go there, I panic, and, like, at this point, I have a vague idea of the sizes, but I panic when I get there, because everyone before me and after me knows what the fuck they want, and they're always really impatient and really mean, especially if they want in the university center. So I just walk up, and I'm like... I swear once I walked up, and the people who work there are so lovely, like, thank you for putting up with me and my inability to speak Starbucks, because I walk up there and I full on just blank, like, I forget everything, and I usually end up ordering a small coffee, and I say, it's the one with a lot of words in it, and there's chocolate in it, and then usually I'm with someone who knows my order at that point, because before that I'll say, okay, this is what I'm getting from Starbucks, and they'll be like, no, Tamara, you mean I think it's, like, white chocolate mocha, but it's like, I don't know, I get it weird, because I'm weird, but not like weird Starbucks weird, it's just I get it with skim milk, so I usually just say, can I have it with skim milk? And it's small, and they're like, do you mean tall? And I'm like, small. And then they usually screw up my name too, so they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, just call for the drink. Like, at that point, I'm just so exasperated, I'm like, this is too much to handle.
I can't deal with this anymore. No, I can't deal with the frickin' remembering the name of the coffee or the name of the name of the drink and then name of the frickin' size. Now you people want to butcher my name.
Yeah.
Like, choose a thing.
Yep. It was great though. My old roommate, same one from the Salsiteria story, loved Starbucks so much. And well, he still does love Starbucks. He's just not in Guelph anymore. And he would get Starbucks every single day. And, like, we had class together second semester, like, before he graduated and left. And, like, dude would show up if there was Starbucks involved. So I'd always be like, hey, let's get Starbucks. And he knew, like, he had this ease of ordering that I wish I could emulate when I went to Starbucks. Like, he just would walk up and be like, I'll have a non-fat coconut milk, cold press brew, avocado, white girl, millennial mortgage. And I just sit there and I'm like, what did you just order? And then, like, he'd, like, give me some and I'm like, wow, that's really good. And he's like, oh yeah, you should just order it next time. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna remember that. It was, like, more than 6 words. And, like, there was, it was, like, it wasn't secret menu, but it was just so counterintuitive. And I'm like, yeah, no, not happening.
Shit's, like, secret menu, like, freaking, like, Morse code bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all freaking written in military code. Yeah, can I have an Alpha Foxtrot Gamma? Oh my god, that is breaking anybody's ears if they're listening through headphones.
So sorry. I tried to Morse
Dear
code.
God. You tried to Morse code. You'd be looking more like... I don't know if that actually was a thing, but, like, you'd be looking at tongue clicking. Even though I'm sure that also counts as a plosive, and also blew your ears out, so...
Sorry about that.
I apologize, dear listener.
Are we an ASMR podcast now? What is this?
I don't know what the fuck we are anymore, dude. Just bring up the next fucking topic.
It's still Guelph.
We're still talking about Guelph.
This 3/4 of this list is Guelph.
We had so many freaking things we wanted to talk about.
This is good. Another weird thing that is happening in the news is that the Scientologist Church Association has decided that Guelph is their new Canadian headquarters. So they're opening up the first Church of Scientology. Is it the first? Or are they just opening one in Guelph?
I'm pretty sure it's the first in Canada.
They're correct us if we're wrong. Tweet at us at our podcast sucks with an X.
If we're wrong about the Scientology Church being the first in Canada, Like, comment, subscribe, retweet.
Yeah. So
like our Facebook page.
They're opening up in Guelph downtown, and it's like, why? What is because Guelph is really Catholic, like very Catholic. And it's just like, are you trying to attract the university students? Are you trying to attract the locals? Like, what? Why?
What's your target audience here? I mean,
is Tom Cruise gonna come and like do a ribbon cutting ceremony?
I'll fucking come out to that. I know we're supposed to. There's a like protest organizing. Like some people want to actually protest this Church of Scientology like being here, which is a weird thing when you think about it.
Like, why Guelph of all places?
Well, why Guelph of all places? I mean, possibly because they feared backlash here the least. I don't know why.
I would say the most. Like, Guelph, it feels like at times most of Guelph is in freaking Overheard.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure that basically... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, well, we have like an Overheard kind of Guelph Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure that anybody who's lived here for any longer than 6 months has been on that page at least once, has been mentioned, or has posted.
Or has seen, because it'll show up in news feeds too.
Or has seen something like, well, I mean, you know, I think most people in Guelph are subscribed to Overheard. Like, that's the point. Like, it feels like it's a more closed community, but realistically, I think you're talking about like 50 to 60% of, if not more, of Guelph is tuned into Overheard at Guelph.
Oh, for sure.
And is listening for their next like shitstorm to comment on and give their opinion on, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like it's
a thing. My favorite thing about Overheard is that there was something that happened during elections, which we won't get into because that's a whole other story for itself. But they ended up citing Overheard, like the original Facebook post, in a newspaper article for the Guelph local newspaper, the Tribune, and this was online. I don't know if it was in print because I don't get the print newspaper, but they had like a picture of the original post, and they talked about how many comments and likes it got. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is so, like, never has it gotten to a point where journalists were aware of the activity of Facebook. Like, that's just, I guess, how big this group is.
It is a weird, I think it's quite weird when you're, when it's one thing to mention that, like, in your journal article, like, oh, you know, it's exploded on social media, it's gone viral on social media, but it's quite another where you are actually reporting when you are reporting in print media about online media. Like, it's a weird kind of dissonance of medias. I completely get that.
Yeah. So, welcome to Guelph. Scientology. Yeah. Ooh, speaking of religious stuff in Guelph.
Oh, man.
Sorry, you haven't spoken much about Guelph. I'm just really passionate about how weird this place is.
It's kind of weird.
There is a strip club in Guelph. Mm-hmm. It is the only strip club. It's called The Manor. I haven't been yet, but I'm trying to convince a group of friends to come with me because I feel like it would be a hilarious experience. But the best thing about
Quick reminder that your mom and dad are going to listen to
Oh, they know. They know. Okay. I've told them this story before because this church on Sundays, I gave it away.
Well, there you go. Not really.
Oh, no.
Not exactly.
Okay, this strip club on Sundays turns into a church. And they cover and move all of the poles. They cover any pictures of boobs and replace them with pictures of Jesus. And it becomes a bona fide church.
Oh my god. And literally, this is the epitome of when the cat's away, the mice will play.
Yeah. But, like, literally, like, if that doesn't sum up how weird Guelph is, that and the transition thing, like... And now Scientology, like, if those three aren't the quintessential, like, what's Guelph like?
Seriously, I think that's about it in 3 sentences. What's it like studying in Guelph? Well.
Scientology, strip club / church, and cornfields.
Easily directly accessible next to easily accessible, like 10-minute walk from your local mall to a cornfield.
Yep.
It's a trip, you know. Being in this place,
it's really like it's nice, I guess, if you have kids, but like
that's not what it sounds like. We haven't made it sound like a great place to live with your kids, but it's pretty good.
People like it.
People go to.
There's a lot of parks.
There's a decent Pokemon Go scene actually around here, and
vibrant.
I know somebody who goes around doing like Pokemon Go with his kids, and it's really, really cute.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, so now we're gonna launch straight into our section about things that we unreasonably hate, because I really, really want to hear this rant that Tamara has got. She's laughing right now, but she will be actually boiling over in anger in a second. And I'm just going to, you know what, you introduce it. You tell us, what is the thing that makes you unreasonably angry?
For the record, I am a, unusually calm person. At least, I don't get angry very often. I get pissed. But, I cool down. And there are very few things to make me, actually angry and, even show physical manifestations of that anger. But Porsche Cayenne is... is the one thing that really grinds my gears. That motherfucking car. Why do you exist? If you wanted a Porsche so bad, buy a fucking Porsche. You're paying. I'm not a car person, so to speak. I love cars. Always have, always will. But, unless the Porsche engine is that wonderful that you must have it in your SUV whilst you pick up your children from school and drive them to soccer practice, why the fuck do you need a Porsche fucking Cayenne to do that? And the other thing is, that car comes in the stupidest array of colors. I guess if you're that fucking wealthy, why not paint your car lime green? I shit you not. Or electric blue. Or hot fucking pink with a vanity plate covered in Swarovski crystals. Why? It's the stupidest car, and I see it in my area in Toronto that I live in. Fucking everyone has a Porsche Cayenne, and it's why? You could just get a fucking Toyota for half the price. I bet you it has better safety ratings. I'm getting so angry.
No, please continue. Please continue.
The worst thing is, I think I can escape it when I come to Guelph, right? But no, across the street from me, there's a fucking Porsche Cayenne. Why? You live in a fucking, suburbia land. Why not get a Honda or a Toyota? Or I'm so angry I can't think of car names, except for Toyota and Honda.
Hyundai?
It's just... Why do you need a Porsche Cayenne? And it's so stupid, and the car itself looks stupid. It looks like you took a Porsche, stretched it on Microsoft Paint, and wrote in douchey writing on the back, Cayenne. Why do you need a Porsche Cayenne? It looks stupid. Porsches, at this point, according to, my car fanatic friends, aren't even that, cool and hip and, a luxury thing anymore, because everyone and their fucking brother has one. Why do you need a fucking Porsche Cayenne? It just makes me unreasonably angry, and I don't know why, and it's awful. And, ask my parents, whenever I see one, I'll point out Teslas, because Teslas make me happy, and then I'll point out Porsche Cayennes, because no matter what I'm doing, if I'm on the phone and I see a Porsche Cayenne, I'll go, God fucking damn it, there's a Cayenne. I don't know why.
For the record, my cheekbones hurt.
I feel my pulse.
I've done this before. Her pulse actually quickens when she talks about Porsche fucking Cayennes, guys.
I hate them so much.
I'm talking actually goes up from a solid 70 BPM to 100.
It's awful.
It's unreal, man. I mean, I sort of understand because
they're stupid.
Again, all of the stuff that you're saying makes perfect sense. It just the fact that you care so much is the thing that makes it just all worthwhile.
I don't know why either. This is a recent development. Within the last 2 years of my life, I have grown to hate Porsche Cayennes. My other roommate just walked in and texted me trigger warning. Thanks. Oh wait, names.
Well, bleeped.
Thanks, blurp.
Blurp.
But yeah, Porsche Cayennes can suck my ass. Maybe don't put that in.
I'll be sure to control that.
Stop it! Go away! Why are you showing me that? My roommate walked up with a picture of a fucking Porsche Cayenne. The whites just look so douchey. Why get a white Porsche Cayenne? Blacks, I guess they look streamlined if you really enjoy the look of a weird stretched out. They're the fucking, like, oh, what's that called? They look like beta fish, if you think about it. Because the headlights are on the side and they're bulging out. They're the beta fish of cars, but less cool.
Please, tomorrow, I swear to God, I'm gonna have such sore cheekbones after this.
I just hate Porsche Cayennes, okay?
I know, okay. So...
What do you hate, Adam?
What is it that I unreasonably hate? I had it recently. I have a terrible memory. It's really, really annoying to try to remember anything. I don't know. I have a terrible memory, and we were talking about it, and I had an idea of what it was that really, really annoyed me, but I can't quite think of what it is now. I might come back to it. There is something that at least mildly annoys me, and that is seeing a goddamn sports car on a university campus. Okay? Let's talk for a little bit about what that implies about you, alright? You are going to university. Okay, I guess that I'm kind of assuming a lot in this scenario, but if there is a sports car on campus,
and there's at least 3 known ones.
Oh yeah, on Guelph campus, I see them actually relatively often.
There's a Lamborghini, a Maserati. There's a couple of Porsche Cayennes.
Well, that's not even a goddamn sports car, but
there's another one too. So douchey.
I'm telling you, man. Some people drive up to this university in their goddamn sports car. They park their goddamn Lamborghini next to the Honda Civic on the one side and the Hyundai I don't even give a fuck on the other.
Or a truck.
Or a pickup. And there it is, and there's a Lamborghini on a university campus where regular conversations are, I don't know what I'm going to eat tonight because I don't have any money left.
Yep.
What the fuck are you doing at this, and especially, it's because if you're a rich kid, okay, you know what, I don't have anything against rich kids, except for the fact that you tend to be douchebags, but that's besides the point.
Why are you at Guelph if you're that rich? Why not go to Western at that point?
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. You are in Guelph, the agricultural school for kids who are going into farming or
environmental sciences.
Or environmental sciences, or veterinary medicine, who love animals and love nature and love getting dirty, and more likely than not aren't awash in money. What the fuck are you doing on this campus, probably getting a degree either in something that's going to prepare you for law, or just some bullshit bird degree that you pulled out of your ass? What the fuck are you... Why is there a Lamborghini next to my goddamn,
mom car?
Mom car or whatever, or on the one side, and then on the other side, the Jeep. What the fuck is this kid doing here? And that... And it also pisses me off, the concept of a rich kid. I like to think that Guelph is, again, a relatively small city. Yeah. I like to think that its people are kind of, earthy and humble and well, maybe not. Okay, maybe that's a preconception.
Not those kids.
But it's just well, not those kids. That's what pisses me off is because scenario, fuck, if you earned for that amount of if you earned the amount of money before going into university that would allow you to buy a Lamborghini. No, probably not, because that sounds more or less impossible. B, back to my first point. What the fuck are you doing in Guelph?
Yeah.
There's
a couple of Teslas. That's my biggest surprise. Is there's
that too.
It's kind of weird. But at least I know one person with a Tesla, but it's their family's Tesla. Oh, even saying that's weird.
Family's Tesla.
They, to be fair, they are very, very wealthy, but all their kids work. So, I can appreciate that. I think it's important. And the other thing, too, is, it's not just sports cars, but there are luxury car brands there, too. Outside of Lamborghini and Maseratis, there's Audis.
There's fucking Audis on campus, too.
Maybe you're a prof who gets hella dollars.
I mean, that's...
But even still, that's really not that common. Yeah. Why are you driving a freaking Audi? Or a Porsche Cayenne?
Or a Porsche Cayenne. Well, that's... Jesus. But that's what... Well... Again, an Audi, that's not too showy a car unless you notice that it's an Audi. To me,
it was like very nice.
No, I know that they're very nice cars, but it's just not showy the same way that a Lamborghini is or like a Porsche is. So, you could be a professor, like, driving up with your Audi or whatever. And this also applies, again, back to the Lamborghini thing, back to the sports car thing. You could be a professor who has earned a lot of money and is driving up to campus for lecturing with your Lamborghini. Great. You know what? If cars is your passion and you just really, really like cars, then, sure. I don't know about too much about cars, but I'm pretty sure that you could still...
At that point, you usually have 2 cars anyways, so it's
At that
your
point, you
choice
usually have
to
2
drive
cars
it.
anyway. You have your choice to drive it. And again, I'm pretty sure that if you're really that into cars, then you could have a car that is decent and then like kind of fuck around with it with the performance not too much, because some of that shit is illegal. But my point is, you're still driving up to Guelph University campus in a fucking Lamborghini. What the fuck are you doing here?
Hey, if you're listening to this Lamborghini, man, feel free to pick us up from our houses at any time, too.
Oh, yeah, no,
We'll
sure.
join you in the douchebaggery. We just don't like being left out of it.
Okay, well, like...
Unless you drive a Porsche Cayenne, then go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah, no, if you're a prof that's driving a Porsche Cayenne, don't let Tamara into your car. She will actually, like... flip her shit inside of that car. I don't know if you've ever been inside of
I've never, and I don't plan on it.
I feel like it would be like kind of trying to bring two opposite and two of the like similar ends on a magnet together. Like if you actually got them in contact, that would be like the freaking singularity. Like we'd be looking at like the solution to every physics equation in theoretical physics for the past like 20 years.
You want to know what else is on a similar level? Like, this doesn't bother me, I just question it. There's, this is more of a fashion-y thing, but there's a new rise in wearing, like, Gucci is all over the place now. Like, everyone fucking loves Gucci, myself included. But what I don't understand is, why would you spend between $300 and $1,000 on a Gucci belt and then wear it to university as a student?
Yes, I can't fucking tell
with like a pair of American Eagle jeans. Like, that just brings everything down. Like, if you're gonna go for the Gucci belt, I want to see your fur coat. I want to see you with that, like, RUMI stuff. I don't want to see you wearing fucking Garage or American Eagle with your Gucci belt. Like, why? That's just like having a Corvette, and then your inside is cloth seats, but, like, the type of cloth that you would use at movie theaters as carpets. Like that really bad 90s really, patterned like, interior.
Stupid, yeah, like it's primarily blue, but there's all kinds of
there's
weird
stars
colors and shit.
Like abstract shapes.
Like they're not even they're irregular stars. Like one of them is a star, but then you can only identify the rest of the figures based on the fact that one of them is a star, because realistically if you saw them alone, they'd look more like pears or something.
Yeah, exactly. But like it just cheapens the whole thing. Like why? I don't know. Also, like, why are you wearing designer clothes to university?
Yeah, seriously. Like, I'll show up in my fucking hoodie and sweatpants. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like, I have nice clothing. Like, I have a couple of very nice items. I don't wear them to school.
No.
Like, when I wear them, it's if the weather is perfect, if it's not too windy, and, like, I spend time getting ready in the morning, but it's not like I wake up and it's like, I'm gonna bring my Gucci belt today with my American Eagle jeans and my, like, fur coat. Like, let me go get ready for school and put a backpack on top. That's just...
If I saw somebody, like, actually who went to campus, like, fully decked out in their Gucci and their fur coats and their, like, best dress and shit, I would make it my fucking mission to pin, like, to tape, like, some sort of, like, kick me type sign on the back of them every single time I saw them.
I mean, like, I'll dress up for school sometimes, but, like, I don't bring out my best. Or, like, I don't know, I bought a really fluffy coat today. It's not, it looks like, the way I described it was it looked like I murdered a teddy bear, kind of. It's, like, really cute, and it's white, and it was from Forever 21, so it wasn't that expensive. But even still, like, I wouldn't really wear that maybe to university. Like, maybe if I was trying really hard to, like, look good that day. But even still, that's like, in my mind, there's a way I dress in Toronto, and then there's a way I dress in Guelph. And the spheres kind of intersect sometimes, but, like, there's just some things you don't wear in Guelph, in my opinion. Like furry vests, which I also don't understand either. Like
furry vest? Like a fur coat, but a vest?
Yeah, real fur vests.
Why?
This is a Toronto thing where I live. People will drive their Porsche Cayennes and get out of it, and you'll see them wearing a white or black turtleneck with a fur vest on top, a Gucci belt, and a pair of designer jeans and over-the-knee boots with a designer bag.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I also don't understand people who buy designer backpacks that are, like, canvas.
I don't understand people who buy designer backpacks, period.
I can understand that. That I understand. But I'm talking, like, you paid for a Prada canvas backpack.
Okay, that's like the complete extreme of the spectrum, but let's think about what the fuck a backpack is in the first place. It's something you wear to school. To learn. It is, by definition, a practical and not a fashionable device.
So why not make it fashionable, though? Like, I have a cute mini backpack. It's JanSport. It was $20, but it's a mini backpack, and I use it like a purse. They're all over the place. Like, after the summertime, there's a lot of, like, Louis Vuitton makes a designer backpack that's really small, which I don't fully understand, but, like, yeah, if you have the money, it looks cute. So I understand that. But, like, this was a full-size canvas backpack, and someone bought it in, like, Prada and then wore it to school. Like, my backpacks get destroyed after a year.
Yeah, exactly. I
put them on lecture hall floors.
I've had the same backpack for the past, like, 3 or 4 years, and it's fallen the fuck apart. I cannot imagine putting much more than $30-$40 into a backpack. Like, because, again, this is what I'm talking about. It's not even just because it's purely practical, but because it's so very not aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's so very much, in essence, a backpack is not a purse. It is not like a laptop bag. Having a nice laptop bag even, I'm like, yeah, sure, you know? But a backpack? Fuck. And this is coming from a kid who used to have a backpack on wheels. You know, one of those fucking... I had a wheelie backpack. Why? Because I was a freaking douchebag when I was a kid. I was part of the freaking Gifty program at my school. Yeah, fucking, I'm telling you, man, this is just a thing we did. We were gifties, we thought we were special, and we had backpacks with wheels, man. Oh. Like, it was pragmatic, it was practical, and it made us look like actual fucking tools.
There was one girl at my school who used to walk around. She didn't even have a backpack. Like, she was next level. She was a year below me. I don't know her name. I'm not going to say it anyways. But she used to walk around balancing everything on her head. Like, you know that meme where it's like, they're in like the year 3000? That was this girl. She would carry textbooks, an apple, a carton of milk, a pizza box on her head. Between classes. She didn't carry anything. Everything was on her head.
Dear God, that is avant-garde to the frickin' max.
I think she had a locker.
That or way backwards.
Yeah. And she had great posture, too. Like, she could, like, nothing ever fell. And, like, we all had lockers. I don't know if she used hers, but she always had at least 2 textbooks on her head at all times, plus a pencil case. And at lunch, one time, she literally had a 2-liter carton of milk on her head, balanced atop a textbook.
What the fuck is this mythical creature?
I don't know her name. I'm gonna ask one of my best friends who I went to high school with what her name was, and like see if I can look her up on Facebook. Because like I swear this girl was like next level fantastic.
That is some next level shit if I've ever fucking heard it, man.
And like no one made fun of her, at least that I knew, because everyone was just in awe.
Well, no
like
shit.
How could she have balanced that? Like
yeah, you get to a point where somebody's doing something weird. And it just, making fun of this person just becomes like, how do you make fun of that? That's a fucking marketable skill.
Yeah.
Like, that's unreal.
And, like, in grade 12, at that point, like, I stopped caring about, like, not popularity, but at least, like, appeasing certain people who were, like, more popular than I was. I had friends in different circles, but I was not popular by any means. And so I ended up hanging out with, I guess we were, like, the nerds of the school. And, like, at that point, she sat with us, and I remember just being like, oh my god, it's her. Like, I'm eating lunch with the girl who balances shit on her head. I must be cool.
Beyonce could have sat down and you wouldn't have been more fucking, hyped about this.
She carried a 2-liter carton of milk on her head, and it was fully sealed. Like, that was a new carton of milk that day, because I asked someone who was friends with her, and they confirmed. Like, I was in so much awe, and, like, every day she sat down at lunch, and I would be like, oh, is she coming to sit with us today? Because, like, we had our little area that we sat in, because that was just what we did at my high school. We had a cafeteria, but, like, no one ate in it. Like, no one ate in the cafeteria. We all ate, like, by the lockers or in random corners. So, like, this girl would sometimes sit with us, and sometimes she wouldn't. I'd be like, oh my god, is she coming?
Oh my god.
My high school had characters in it, but that girl was, like, next level amazing.
That's pretty freaking incredible. Alright. I think we might as well kind of wrap it up for this particular session. We've gone over some really weird shit. We've gone over why Guelph is weird. We've gone over why you hate the shit out of Porsche Cayennes. We did some childhood trauma, and we finished off on the girl who could balance a pizza box, textbooks, a pencil case, and a 2-liter carton of milk on her head. Did I get that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, there you go. That is the summary of what just happened. Thank you very much for listening to us. We hope that you were entertained at least by this, because that's really all the value that you could get out of this. There's not much more.
Yeah, and if you'd like us to discuss something in the next podcast, tweet at us. If you're friends with us, Facebook message us. And if you want to see more, we do have a Facebook page. I think it's Our Podcast Sucks as well, too. And can I do a little plug?
Please.
If you want to see more of me, I actually have a YouTube channel on the side where I think my tagline's like beauty, fashion, and memes. So if you're interested in that, it's Tamara Aaron on YouTube. Go subscribe and comment something weird on the latest video, which I think is going up as we speak. It's at like 63%.
No.
But yeah.
So technically, kind of behind the scenes of post production of Tamara Aaron's YouTube channel is making a podcast, man.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah, so 100%. Yeah, like us, tweet us. We're probably gonna be putting this on iTunes. So I guess if you're listening to it, then well, there you fucking go. You made it. Yeah. Cool.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Somebody truck in a